friends, brethren, and honored guests. Thank you for being here this evening on a Tuesday night. Thank you for being here and celebrating with us the 100 years of Freemasonry in Culver City. My name is Harry Culver. I am the current worshipful master of Culver City-Foshay 467. It is a great honor to be part of this journey, because Freemasonry is a journey. It's a personal journey as well. And it's a great honor to be part of this great legacy which we are about to discuss this evening. First of all, I would like to talk a little bit about who I am, because Jack Bomberetto asked me to do so. I came to America in 1994, and I have been a Mason since 2009. And it has been a great pleasure and honor to be part of this great fraternity, and to be part of Worshipful Jason Berry's line, because he was the Worshipful Master last year. I would first like to introduce Jack Bomberetto. He is the president of Culver City Historical Society, and this evening we're going to discuss the historical facts of our worshipful brother Harry Culver, who actually incorporated this city at the same time when this lodge was chartered, which was 1917. So Culver City and Culver City-Foshay have been intermingling together for 100 years. And it's a great pleasure for me to introduce you, Jack Bomberetto.
Thank you so much. Hi. My name is Jack Bomberetto. I'm president of Culver City Historical Society. It is a pleasure to be here. I am thrilled to be here with all of you guys tonight, along with our people from Historical Society, as well as everyone here from Foshay, Culver City-Foshay Lodge number 467. So from this moment forward, I'm going to be saying Foshay 467, just so you guys know. But that is the actual complete name of the organization. I'm thrilled to be here. Again, my name is Jack. You know, by the way, I'm from Michigan, so I've been here in Southern California for many years. I'm retired from the Los Angeles Unified School District, as is my wife, the secretary, and got involved in Historical Society in my retirement. So I am retired a teacher and school administrator from the Los Angeles Unified School District. Lived here in Culver City over 40 years, so it's a great town. I see that we have a VIP here tonight, Stu Freeman. Wave to the crowd. Stu Freeman. His grandfather was a member and a charter member, or founding member of this lodge as well. And of course, Stu was the president of Historical Society back in the day. So he's our VIP for tonight. I want to congratulate Hike. Hike has been newly elected as the worshipful master here at Foshay 467, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job. So hopefully, unfortunately, Hope could not be here tonight. Hope is the city historian. She's on family business today, but of course, her grandfather, William McSems, was a member of Foshay 467. Hope's family has been here in the city of Culver City for generations. They have moving industry in Culver City, Foshay 467 connections. Hope's grandfather, of course, was a member. Hope's grandfather worked at MGM, now Sony Pictures, in special effects, and he owned a welding business called Culver Welding Works on Washington Boulevard, across from currently where Costco is. Of course, Hope was my predecessor at Culver City Historical Society. She does so many things. She's in charge of our archive. We get lots of questions and phone calls about Oh, by the way, my uncle was a podiatrist in Culver City. Do you know anything about him? So she runs the archive. We have a whole archive team. She does the newsletter. It is a wonderful document. As you can see, well, maybe you can't, down here, this event is advertised in our newsletter. Okay, moving on. I have Mark right there. Mark is seated back there. Mark is, raise your hand, Mark. Mark is our programs chair. You may or may not know, I know our people know, we do four programs a year. Typically, they're at our place. Our museum is at Vets Park, the big tall tower. We're at the base of the tower. We have a multi-purpose room there, and typically that's where our programs take place. But this room is infinitely more interesting than our multi-purpose room. So we're here tonight at Foshay 467. Mark does a great job setting up our programs, scheduling everything. He is our photographer and videographer. He posts all of our programs on our website. So you can go to our website, click on the YouTube button. You can watch any program that we've done over the last, 5 years, Mark? Something like that?
7 or 8.
7 or 8 years, very good. Thousands, Mark, thousands of people have watched our videos online. So, if you look right here, this is a snapshot of our website. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a YouTube button. If you click on that button, culvercityhistoricalsociety.org, it'll take you to all of our videos. Let's see. In addition to that, you can look at our website. You can become a member of Culver City Historical Society through the website. Or Mara, where's my secretary, wife, she's back there. You can sign up at our table back there. You can shop at our website. We sell all different kinds of things, books, anything to do with the city of Culver City, umbrellas, blankets, all kinds of things you can buy online. You can come in and pick it up. We'll ship it to you, whatever you like. So our website is very interactive and amazing. Anissa, right there. Anissa is our web designer. She does a fantastic job with our website. And if you go back one slide, Cole, my daughter-in-law was not here. So if you'd like to use our QR code, Josiah, right there, has the QR code. You take a picture with your phone, it'll take you right to our website. Thank you. And then moving on, let's see. My wife, Mara, right there, Mara Bomarito. She is our secretary. As I mentioned earlier, we are both retired Los Angeles Unified School District. Maureen couldn't make it tonight. She is vice president in charge of our museum. She lives way out in Santa Clarita. She drives in twice a month or 3 times a month, depending, to be at our museum on Sundays. We're open on Sundays. I'll show you a slide on that. She does a great job maintaining our museum and our museum store. Valerie is here. Valerie Meyer, right here. Valerie is a retired teacher from Hawthorne School District, right?
Sentinel Valley.
Sorry, Sentinel Valley. Losing her high school. She's a retired teacher. She taught home economics and is very adept at making clothes and designing clothes. So when it came time to dress the mannequin, I knew who to call. I called Valerie. Of course, Sam and Jason brought over a whole bunch of artifacts to our museum, and we wanted to display the master's uniform, and Valerie did a fantastic job. Give her a round of applause. So I mentioned Valerie's a home ec teacher. I love this picture of Valerie right here. Right here, I don't know if you guys can see that. Valerie is at her Weight Watchers meeting, as you can see. Carol's our treasurer. She does a great job as treasurer. The debits and the credits and the interest rates and the spreadsheet, it all makes my head spin. Jeannie and Tammy could not be here tonight. They're in charge of membership. Membership's a big deal for us. We're donor supported. We sell things and, but primarily we survive on donations. They also help out with the newsletter and archival work. And you can see that Jeannie and Tammy have this amazing resemblance to Judy Garland and to Vivian Lee. Of course, Judy Garland, Wizard of Oz is probably the most famous MGM film of all time. And arguably, Gone with the Wind was maybe arguably the most famous film from Culver Studios. So the two studios are located right here in the city of Culver City. Jim Clark, wave at the crowd, Jim. There's my friend Jim Clark, former mayor of the city of Culver City, good buddy of mine, traveling buddy. Thanks for coming, Jim. Michael Linderlassie. Is Michael here? Michael just couldn't make it tonight. She's our parliamentarian. She does a great job as parliamentarian. She keeps us, sticking to parliamentary procedures and on track, and keeps us on track with our agenda. She has a phenomenal history with Masonry. Okay. Both of her grandparents belonged to the Palms Lodge. Her father was in DMLA, Masons, and Scottish Rite. Her mom was an Eastern Star, and her grandmother was the Eastern Star Deputy Grand Matron. That is a family that is connected to our organization and to your organization. Too bad she's not here. Denise Renteria down here. Denise is awesome. She does our social media. She's the younger voice on our board. We're kind of more older, but she's younger, and we get the young perspective from Denise. Good friend of Jim Clark over there. Denise and Jim are good buddies, right, Jim? So, if I can see that next slide, Cole. So, this is an example of Denise's work. This is on all of our social medias, all of our social media accounts. As you can see, this year, or last year and this year, I insisted that so for me, we're open every Sunday, unless there's a fifth Sunday. So 1, 2, 3, 4 Sundays, 12 to 3. If you have a group of people that wants to come to see our museum, off hours, let us know. Send the secretary an email. You have a group of 6 or 8 or 4 or 6 or 8 or a dozen people. You want to come to the museum on an off day? I'm retired. I can bring you in on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, whatever it is. Notice that along with the hours, this event is being advertised on our social media. That's a typical example of what we send out. What do we got next? Cole? Okay, so Hope and our archives team and Denise have been working hard with MailChimp. MailChimp allows you to send out an email blast. This email, if you're on our email list, you should have gotten this. Again, if you can see the graphic here, along with the meeting for tonight, Freemasonry in Culver City, a not-so-secret history. I wish I could take credit for that, but somebody in our organization came up with that title. I actually love that title. Next slide. So here's Cole, right there. Cole, raise your hand. Cole, again, I'm trying to bring these young people in, for God's sakes. Cole is a young guy with amazing graphic art skills and technology skills. Right next to Cole is Josiah. Josiah is right there. Every Friday, we bring in young people from Culver City High School to work in our museum on Friday afternoons after school. And they have other things that they can do too. They have service hours they have to do at Culver High School. So we keep a log for them. I've written a ton of letters of recommendation for them. It's a wonderful program that Hope started, and we have a relationship now with Culver City High School. It's awesome. We gotta keep bringing the young people in. So Cole and I are in this picture right here, and that is right next to the Culver Hotel. There's a statue there next to the Culver Hotel. It's called A Moment in Time. It's Harry Culver, his wife Lillian Culver, and their daughter Patricia Culver. Remember, Harry Culver did not have a male heir. There is no Culver name. It died with the Culver and Lillian and Patricia. There is no. She married into the Battle family. So if you come to our museum, which all of you are invited to come to our museum every fourth Sunday from 12 to 3, or a special time, you'll see what we have in the museum. So that's Cole right there, that's me right there, and we're doing a tour for Walk and Rollers, another nonprofit in the city of Culver City. We're friends with all the nonprofits, Historical Society, Sister City Committee, Walk and Rollers, Exchange Club. We're all kind of friends in the city of Culver City. So that's what Cole and I are up to. Next slide, Cole. So here's a couple pictures of the Culver Hotel. I'm not going to go deep into the Culver Hotel. I like this picture right here. It's from the 1940s, I think. This is a 1930s car, but these cars back in here are 1940s era. Of course, that intersection right there where Culver Boulevard and Washington Boulevard used to cross, we call that the Culver X right there. Washington and Culver, the Culver X. The Culver Hotel opened in 1924, originally as the Hunt Hotel, and we talked a little bit this evening. On the second floor, in the back here, on the east side of Culver Hotel, we understand, we were talking with Foshay 467, before this building opened, we think that the meetings of this organization were held until 1928 when we had this building here. So from 1917 to 1928, the gentlemen here are telling me that the meetings for Foshay 467 were held in Harry Culver's second floor offices at the Culver Hotel. So it's a very important building on many levels. I mean, it's a landmark. I mean, everybody knows that Culver Hotel is this building that was designed to bring people to the city of Culver City. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the next slide. So here's the backstory. 2.5 years ago, Jason Berry, this fine gentleman right here, walked into our museum and started asking questions about the city of Culver City, and specifically Harry Culver. He wanted to know more about one of the founding members of this organization. At that time, Jason was the worshipful master here at Foshay 467. We decided that we were going to develop a joint program along with a display, a program that you're seeing right here tonight, and a display that's back at our museum. And if you look right here, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, that display in our museum was for Poverty Row, I believe.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at our museum here, it's not a huge building. It's small but mighty. That's what I like to say. There's a big round thing in the middle here, which used to be a fire pit, right, Valerie? Is that right? So this was, I'm pretty sure Dennis Parish and Hope Parish had a lot to do with setting up all these antique cameras inside of our museum. Like I say, it's a round building. Typically, we have costumes, right, Valerie? We have costumes in the middle, but this particular day we had everything set up for a program with a great author named Mark Wanamaker. Mark has written a number of books about Hollywood and Culver City and the film industry and so on. So he did a program on Poverty Row, which was a string of small movie, movie industry places. So, all right, next slide. So fast forward to December, just a couple months ago. Jason and Sam showed up at our place with all this stuff. We now have it on display in our museum. Next slide. So, I've never done one of these showcases ever in my life, but Hope and Dennis, both of them are retired prop masters from the film industry. Hope, Dennis Parrish is Hope's father. So I just kind of looked at everything else that was happening in the museum, and ironically, Sam, you brought over the exact amount of items that would fit in the showcase that Jason wanted us to use. It fit perfectly. It was kind of amazing. On the top of the showcase, I found these plastic holders to hold this ceremonial sword. Its last name is Kavanaugh on the sword, right, Sam? This apron right here, of course, if you're a mason and you're a builder of some sort, you wear some sort of apron to keep your tools, right? So this is an apron right here. It says 1926 right on it. There it is over there. These are Scottish Rites caps, which Sam's going to talk about. Of course, the Bible, which I'm in love with. These are the tools of the Mason. This is a 3D printed version of a lion that they call Harry Culver. We have a gavel here. We have books at the bottom. Of course, that's George Washington. Of course, every founding father of the United States was a Mason. Over here, that's James Foshay. James Foshay was the worshipful master for the state of California, like in the 1850s or something, right? Something like that? Yeah, long time ago.
James Foshay, 1900.
Superintendent of California.
Los Angeles School.
Oh, and Los Angeles schools, and of course the school, and of course James Foshay I'm a retired teacher. James Foshay Middle School is right where I used to work. Okay, next slide. So again, Valerie did a great job on the master's uniform. Here's the apron, which I didn't know what it was at first. It's like a tool belt that you would use when you're like a carpenter. Of course, we have the fez here, and this other hat, which I forget the name of it. Sam's going to talk about it. Next slide. Here we are, the day that they brought everything over to our organization. This is all the items they brought over. Here's Mark filming everything, photographing everything. Here's Dan. Sorry, I cut your head off, Dan. Here's my wife, Mara. You know, Mara, she always wears slippers to every business meeting. Did you ever notice that? She always has her slippers on. So whenever any business meeting, she's got slippers. I don't know why that's about. Next slide. Here's the four musketeers. Mark, myself, Jason, and Sam. Next page, next slide. Here's Sam telling us all about the stuff, all about the books, which we have on display. Harry Culver on top of the books. And Jason telling us about Harry Culver, their mascot here at Foshay 467. Okay, next slide. The Bible. So the Bible to me is amazing. I did a little research on the Bible. The Bible can be as old as 1870. It's the King James Bible, which my wife informed me makes it a Protestant Bible, and it's written in Apocrypha, biblical or related writings, not necessarily forming part of the accepted canon of Scripture, some of which may be doubtful authorship or authenticity. I'm saying it can go back as far as 1870, and we call it the Old Text. It's a King James Bible with Apocrypha. The symbol of the Masons is the compass, not the compass that tells you north, south, east, and west. It's a compass that you use in math class to measure angles. And of course, the square. The compass, the square, and the G for God. Yes, sir. Next page. Okay, Harry Culver. Harry Culver is the founder of the city of Culver City and a founding member of this organization. Again, you have the connection. He was born in Milford, Nebraska. He just had a birthday, January 22nd, 1880. Born into a military family. At age 18, he joined the U.S. Army. He served in the Spanish-American War. Next page. Okay, after the war, he spent time working for the Manila Times newspaper. He relocated here in Southern California. Well, you remember the Spanish-American War. The Philippines became U.S. territory. That's why he was in the Philippines. He relocated to Southern California, where he began to work in the real estate industry, real estate business. His mentor, Van Nuys. Ever heard of Van Nuys, California? I.N. Van Nuys. Isaac Newton Van Nuys. Van Nuys married who? Lancashire. Right, so founders of the Valley. That's Van Nuys. Sorry, that's Van Nuys. That's Harry Culver's father, right there. Next page. So, while working for Van Nuys, he scraped together $5,000 and began to acquire property, what is currently Culver City. He decided to build his city halfway between downtown Los Angeles and the newly constructed canals of Venice Beach. The city was incorporated in 1917, and so was Culver City, Foshay 467. Next page. I love this picture. These are the city fathers right here. So Charles Shalito, right there. Charles Shalito was the first worshipful master of Foshay 467 and the first city clerk and treasurer of the city of Culver City. Again, you have this crossover between the two organizations. That's why we're here tonight. This is Jason Berry, former worshipful master of Foshay 467. Your turn.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Good. Glad to see such a great turnout for this evening's event. As he stated earlier, my name is Jason Berry. I was the worshipful master of Foshay Lodge for the year 24 and 25. I just got out of the chair and just retired, so I'm a happy guy. Passed it on to this young man here, Piper Sheehan, who is going to maintain the legacy, not only me, but of course of Harry Culver and the rest of the founding members. Our journey begins in December 1916 in the offices of Harry Hazel Culver. At that time, Culver City did not exist. It was 93 acres of barley fields in the Lavalona Valley. Yet, Harry Culver held the bold vision. 14 prominent men gathered in those offices to plant the seeds of what would become Culver City Lodge. Among them was Harry Culver himself, who held the office of marshal in our founding charter. There's a chair that actually where the picture is the chair that he would have sat in when the lodge was up and running. Charles Emmett Shalito was the worshipful master. Behind this screen, there is a picture of Shalito in the chair. That is the chair that he would have sat in. All 14 were prominent business and civic leaders who shaped our community. They believed in the Masonic principles of brotherhood, integrity, and building something that would endure. And to their credit, our lodge has endured for over 100 years. On August 6, 1917, just months after the first meeting, we held our first official meeting under dispensation. By September 20th, 1917, Culver City itself was officially incorporated, becoming a city. Our lodge and our city were born together at that moment. Harry Culver was a real estate developer and promoter of considerable skills. He had traveled the world, worked in the Philippines, and understood how to build and market a community. When he announced his plans for Culver City in 1913, he spoke of creating a model little white city. A carefully planned community positioned perfectly between downtown Los Angeles and the Pacific Ocean. As you can see here, we see many advertisements for the city as they were going out to promote for people in real estate. It's kind of hard to see here, but we can leave this up for later. That said, do not nor shall part thereof or be conveyed, transferred, leased, or demised to any other person than or of a white or Caucasian. And the other advertisements follow suit. Culver succeeded beyond imagination. He attracted major film studios. Thomas Ince moved his studio here in 1918. Hal Roach followed. By the 1920s, Culver City became the heart of Screenland. Culver built the magnificent Hotel Culver in 1924, a 6-story architectural landmark that still stands today. This was visionary leadership. This was urban planning at its finest. Our lodge benefited from this prosperity. We grew alongside the city. Thousands of men have walked through our doors, taken the oaths, sat in the lodge, and participated in building something that has lasted over a century. But we would dishonor our Masonic obligation to truth if we stopped there. Harry Culver deliberately advertised the city, I just kind of read it, I'm sorry. He used exclusionary zoning with large residence lots to keep costs high and accessible to wealthy families. He placed racially restrictive covenants directly into property deeds, restricted to Caucasian race or no Negroes, Mexicans, or those of Asiatic race. Culver City became a sundown town. The Ku Klux Klan had members here in the 1920s and 30s. Police enforced their restrictions. Harry Culver wasn't a fringe figure. He was the president of the California Real Estate Association in 1926 and National Association of Real Estate Boards in 1929. Both organizations formally endorsed racial covenants. He used his power and influence to enforce segregation at scale. Our 14 founding brothers built this lodge within that system. All 14 were white. All 14 benefited from our participation in these practices. That's the moral truth we must reckon with. Which brings us to an uncomfortable question. What was the role of Freemasonry in all of this? The truth is, our lodge existed within this system. 14 men gathered in Harry Culver's office in 1916. All 14 were white. All 14 presumably benefited from or participated in the system that made Culver City white. Were they conscious architects of segregation? That varies. Were they complicit? That's harder to deny. Freemasonry teaches us all that all men are brothers, that we stand on level ground before the altar, regardless of rank or station. Yet, our lodge, like so many lodges across this country, existed in segregated times and segregated places. We are not exempt from this history. To be honest, we must acknowledge this contradiction. Our founding fathers built something that lasted, but they built it on a foundation that excluded. That's the moral arithmetic we must reckon with on this night. And yet, the story does not end in shame. Culver City has transformed. The restrictive covenants designed to keep people out have given way to a community that welcomes them in. Today, we are one of the most diverse and inclusive cities in Southern California. But that transformation happened despite the systems built by our founders, not because of them. Which brings us to what this means for us now. It means we honor the truth, all of it. We honor our founding brothers and their persistence. And we acknowledge the moral failure in their foundation. Both can be true. It means we understand that Freemasonry is only as true to its principles as we make it. Our ritual teaches brotherhood. Our history often contradicted that teaching. That's a challenge to us because we have the power to do better. It means we recognize the institutions, that institutions can change. We have changed. So let us build a lodge that truly reflects the principles we profess. We are all men, all brothers. Where the diversity of Culver City is reflected in our membership. And where level ground before the altar means something real. In conclusion, over 100 years ago, 14 men gathered to build a lodge. They succeeded. We are here tonight because they did. They created something that has endured through depression, war, social upheaval, and transformation. As we enter into our second century, let us honor their persistence while rejecting their exclusions. Let us build a lodge that truly reflects the principles we profess, where all men are brothers, where level ground before the altar means something real, where the diversity of Culver City is reflected in our membership and welcomed in our rooms. Let us be worthy of the legacy we inherited, and let us build something better for the generations that will follow. Thank you.
Well, good evening. Hopefully you've all thoroughly enjoyed what we've experienced and seen and heard this evening. I'm so honored to be here with you all tonight. Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to really relish in this beautiful history of Freemasonry in Culver City. Hopefully, we'll all get a chance. I was more on the back end of getting this all, or the front end of getting all this. I haven't actually seen it in its beauty other than photos, but I encourage you all to go and really, really check this out for yourself because it's really, really fantastic. But starting from this side of the screen and moving back, as we mentioned earlier, this is the master's uniform. Traditionally, a master of the lodge would wear tails all the way down, beautifully tailored suits.
Laser.
Sure.
Step up.
Potentially. Laser technology. And of course, with that comes the top hat and the white gloves, which we'll talk about a little bit shortly as well. But anytime you see this symbol here, which Jack noted was the square, in Freemasonry that denotes the master's chair. And furthermore, behind this screen, after our Q&A, if you like, the altar that, actually the lectern that the master stands behind is dedicated to Charles Chilito, who was noted earlier, so you can check that out for yourself. But as was also previously mentioned, we have all sorts of different hats. We've got the Scottish Rite hats, but particularly here with the shrine hat. If you look closely, that symbol that is on that shrine hat, you can also find on Harry Culver's lapel pin, which leads us to know, with somewhat of confidence, that Harry Culver was indeed a member of the Shrine here in Southern California, which is a really, really beautiful organization, as you all know. Millions and millions of dollars a year with the Shrine Hospitals. So, moving right along to our middle portion here. You'll see multiple angles of these aprons. This particular apron was a past master's apron from 1928, no, potentially, which after you serve your year as master of the lodge, or president, or CEO more so, you usually would be gifted this apron as kind of a memory of your year in the East, which is denoted differently than other aprons that you might see as your master with the square, and you actually get the, that one. That's the one. I wish I knew the term. I'm not a master yet, so I'll find out whenever I get there. If I get there. But lo and behold, let's return to these white gloves on top of the top hat. One of the most introductory symbols in Freemasonry is equality. Being on the level. Knowing that everyone that steps at this altar is foundationally equal. And we're taught that all men and women are of one family. And those white gloves we wear in a meeting so that we actually, traditionally, would hide the calluses, as Masonic tradition informs us, hide the way that our hands look, so that if you're sitting next to someone that maybe is traditionally behind a desk, working with paper all day, versus being out in the quarries, working with very coarse material, rather than that of paper, it wouldn't really be of issue. We all find that equality somewhere in the space of this lodge. Directly on the sides of that top hat are 4 various hats. You have a red hat, black hat, purple hat, fancy, and a blue hat. The one that is missing from that is actually a white cap, which I will explain, but to get us started, in a pendant body of Freemasonry, kind of a separate organization, but very well closely tied to Freemasonry, is the Scottish Rite. Many of us have heard of the 33rd degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, things along those lines. That is the Scottish Rite. Every single 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason receives one of these black hats with double-headed eagle, a little triangle on top. And that is, if you see somebody wearing that ball cap right there, pretty good chance that they're a Scottish Rite Mason. Directly above that is a further honor that is bestowed upon a member that's really shown exemplary service to the Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And beyond that, kind of the next honor, as I mentioned earlier, is the 33rd degree of Freemasonry. It's a very, very high honor, really only bestowed to folks that really, really dedicate their lives to Freemasonry and bringing morality and the lessons we learn in Freemasonry to the public. They receive a white cap after they are initiated into the 33rd degree. Beyond that, and in my opinion, an even higher honor is that little blue cap right there. If you were close, you'd see that that has the numbers 50. That's the hat that you receive if you are a 50-year member of the Scottish Rite, which that's keeping your dues up, being at meetings, being active, being a part of that society. That blue cap right there. And then in specific jurisdictions, you get this little purple hat if you're an active member of what they call the Supreme Council. If you have any questions about that, we can talk about that later in the foyer. Furthermore, behind this beautiful Bible, we have an altar cloth that would be displayed on that altar at one point, maybe at the beginning of the meeting, prior to meeting, things along those lines. Now we kind of use it as our travel cloth, so to speak. As we mentioned earlier, we have all sorts of beautiful Masonic literature, books from the likes of Albert Pike, a very controversial figure with Morals and Dogma, to things from Albert Mackey and other Masonic historians. So if you feel like reading yourself into a hole, you can check out these books at the Historical Society Library. Furthermore, on this shelf, we have some representation for De Molay, as well as the Bethel and Job's Daughters, which have a beautiful, beautiful table outside, and I'm sure that they would love to speak with you after. Furthermore, can't really see, it's green and dark, but if you go in person, you'll see these beautiful wooden representations of Freemasonic working tools. Freemasons, as you see on these little pictures and different lecterns, if you kind of walk around the lodge and outside as well, you'll see various tools. In Freemasonry, they're not just used for their operative work. They're speculative, in a sense. In front of those working tools, we have the Harry Culver lion, which has lots of symbolism relating to MGM, of course, as just that power and pride of being part of Culver City. Furthermore, on the bottom shelf, some more texts and some skulls as a reminder, memento mori, that we are and ought to live life to the fullest as time will continue to move along. And ultimately, we'll all look away something like that. Furthermore, the sword, other than just being awesome, the golden sword, I mean, that's pretty dope, is a tradition related to this little hat, which you can't see, the chapeau, in the Knights Templar organization. A very, very famous appendant body as well. In the York Rite of Freemasonry, if you serve as the presiding officer in the commandery of Knights Templar, you receive a golden sword, and everybody is happy that you have a golden sword. It's pretty cool. Lo and behold, some more photos of this beautiful, beautiful representation of some of our symbolism in Freemasonry. This scene here is a very, very important scene to all Freemasons. When we convene for a meeting in Freemasonry, the square and compasses are displayed upon the holy texts. That could be the Holy Bible, but it could also be any of the texts with which the lodge feels necessary and feels represents their membership the most. There's a lot of beautiful symbolism around the compass and the square and the unity and the G, which in every regular lodge you'll see suspended somewhere in the east. I don't know if you're close, you might not be able to see it, but we've got one up there. As we walk around at the end, you'll be able to get a chance to see that. But just knowing how this image right here really, really represents what it means to be a Freemason and tells us how to, and reminds us more so, how to go about living our lives. So thank you so much. Again, I'm Sam.
I just want to say this meeting today is an amazing conclusion of the last 2.5 years of our two organizations trying to come together and share with the public the crossover between folks that have been involved in Foshay 467 and folks that have been involved with the founding of the city of Culver City. So to me, it's been an amazing experience. So round of applause.
Fantastic.